This is an explanation for 3 non-calculator questions. What I'll do is I'll read the question. I had put a written explanation next to it, but I will go through it. So the first question is quite obviously a ratio question, but let me read through it. Salma is making a filling for a cake. Salma mixes jam, sugar and soft cheese in a ratio 4:1:16. She uses 32 ounces of soft cheese. Salma knows that 1 ounce is 28.3 grams. How many grams of jam does Salma need? So it's quite obviously a ratio question. It's given the ratio 4:1:16. So what I always do with ratio questions is I rewrite them with the information that the question tells me. So this is a proportion question. 4:1:16. Underneath that ratio, I put what each of the number refers to. So 4 is jam, 1 is sugar, and 16 is soft cheese. And that is here. So just rewriting it. It's very important to keep the ratio consistent. Also, what I put in is also the other information that we need. So it says she uses 32 ounces of soft cheese. So I put that underneath soft cheese. Okay, so that tells me it's a proportion question. So 16 has turned into 32. So we need to do exactly the same with all the other ingredients to keep them in proportion. So 16 to 32, it's increased 2 times. So you can check that by doing 32 divided by 16, which equals 2. So we know that jam is 8 ounces. Okay, so what we now need to do with that knowledge is convert imperial to metric. So it's given us a conversion, and the conversion there from ounces to grams is 28.3. Okay, so we need to apply that to turn the 8 ounces into metric to the grams. So it's 28.3 times 8. So this is a non-calculator question, so we do need to work that out. One method of doing that is to take the decimal points out. So 3 times 8 is 24. 8 times 8, 64. Plus the 2, 66. 2 times 8 is 16. Plus 6, 2 times 8 plus 6 is 22. So we're left there with 2264. We've taken out the decimal point, but there's 1 point after what we've taken out, so it needs to be put back in exactly the same place. So the answer to the question is 226.4. It's also asked us for an estimation. So when you ask for an estimation, just have a look back. So what we were doing there is 28.3 times 8 with an estimation, the tricky figure, turn it into something a bit easier to calculate. So what we've done there is turn the 28.3 into 30, and again times it by 8. Again 30 times 8. Again, using whatever method you need to do to calculate that, and the answer is 240, which is a really good estimation. Okay, so that's that question. Another question we was looking at is this one. So again, there's an explanation next to it, but let me read it out first. So Jack is a jeweler. He makes a pendant in the shape of a triangular prism as shown in the diagram. So this is a triangular prism. Jack makes the pendant from solid gold. He uses this formula. So again, it's a formula substitution question, being careful about BIDMAS as well. Don't have to be too careful here because it's not complicated, but it says TL. So when it's TL, we know that's T times L. So it's given the formula there. Jack knows that mass equals density times volume. The density of gold is 19 grams per centimetres cubed. The cost of 1 gram of gold is £40. Jack sells the pendant for £382 more than the total cost of the gold needed to make the pendant. How much does Jack sell the pendant for? So this is a 6-mark question, so quite a big question. So let's have a look how we need to break that down. Obviously we need to break it down bit by bit. So it's told us how much the selling price is dependent on the weight. So we have to work out the mass, because mass is a unit of weight. So mass equals 19 times volume, because mass equals density times volume, and we're told the density. So we don't know volume. So we need to go back to the formula to work out the volume. Volume equals TL. So the prior knowledge that we do need here is to know, because T stands for the area of the triangular face, so we need to know the formula for area of a triangle. So area triangle, half base times height. So it's half 1 times 3. So when we sort of expand that out, it comes to 1.5 centimetres squared. Area is in squared. But that's not the end of the formula, because we need to times the area of the triangle by the length of the prism. The length of the prism is 4 centimetres. So volume equals 6 centimetres cubed. Okay, so we've worked out the volume now. We can put that back into the first formula we were looking at, so mass. So mass now, we've got everything we need there. Mass equals 19 times 6, which is 114 grams. Okay, so we've got what we need to work out the cost, because the cost is £40 per gram. 114 grams times 40 equals 4,560. Again, we need to work that out, long multiplication. That's not too bad. So that's how much it costs. It tells us that Jack sells the pendant for £382 more. So 4,560 plus the extra 382. So that means that Jack sells the pendant for £4,942. Okay, so we've got one more question to have a look at. So let's find that. So it's on a different page. Okay, so let me read the question. Usha is a local councillor. She wants to write about a new housing development. The question shows the space for the new development, and we've got a sketch of that. Usha thinks that the area of the development will be greater than the total area of 50 football pitches. Usha knows that a football pitch is rectangular, so that's important information there. 100 metres by 50 metres. 1 mile equals 1,600 metres. So again, it's got a conversion factor there. Will the area of the development be greater than the total area of 50 football pitches? So again, reading through the question, it's always a good idea to read through more than once. I have done that, and obviously you will be doing that in the exam. So it's a comparison question. Again, the prior knowledge that we need, same as the question before, is the area of a triangle, which is half base times height. It's also a conversion question because we've got mixed units there. We've got meters, which is metric, and we've got miles, which is imperial. So convert one, you need to convert them to the same units to be able to do this question. It's easier to convert it into metric. So the area of the triangle, which is the area of development, that now becomes a half, 100 times 100, because it's saying that 1 mile is 1,600 meters and we're dealing with half a mile. So if we work that out, the area of the development in meters is 320,000 meters squared. So be really careful with the noughts there. So we've got the figure for the area of development. We need to work out the football pitches to be able to compare. So it's rectangular. So we need the area of a rectangle, which is length times width. So the numbers associated with that are 100 meters by 50 meters here. But it's also saying there's 50 of them. So it's 100 times 50 times 50, which equals 250,000 meters. So, and the units for area of meters squared. Therefore, the comparison now is between that figure and that figure, and we can see that the area of the development is a bigger number. Okay, so you do need to write that down for an extra mark with the answer yes, because it's asked us, will the area of the development be greater? So we need to say yes. Again, just to stop any confusion, I expand that a little bit, which is yes, the area of development is greater than the total area of 50 football pitches. Also asking us for a valid check, so inverse calculation, you can pick out of these. So 250,000, we'll check that by dividing that by the amount 50, and we get 5,000, which should be this figure, and it is. So again, whatever numbers you choose to do inverse, it should make sense. Okay, so there's the explanation of those 3 questions.